Welcome back to the One Officer Success Partner. I'm your host, Devin Dubuc, and this week we've got another LO Spotlight, Kobi Rex with Premier Lending. Kobi, new to the team, but not new to the industry. And welcome to the show, man. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Devin. I'm excited.
Yeah, and where are you tuning in from today? What part of the world are you located out of?
So I am in Colorado Springs.
Colorado, man, beautiful part of the country. Beautiful. I grew up in Kansas and just love Colorado.
Was in the Air Force for a little bit and couldn't wait to get back.
I love. So, are you from Colorado Springs originally, or that area in Colorado?
I am. I was actually born at the Air Force Academy Hospital. Grew up here, and then I ended up going to college at the Air Force Academy, and then got shipped off to Idaho, and then came back to the Springs and made this my place ever since.
There it is, man. There it is. So sounds like you've got a strong veteran background. So thank you for your service. And does that run in the family too, or are you the first?
Yeah, for sure. So my dad is an Army Ranger. Mom was also an Academy grad as well. They met both actually teaching at the faculty there. So yeah, and then actually the generation before that was my grandfather also served. So we definitely have lots of military running in our blood.
And I kind of knew that. We've talked before, and I know, serving veterans is something that's very important to you. And it's something that's very important, in this industry in general, right? We've got to take care of the people that are out there putting their necks on the line, on the front line. And that's something that's important. And you do it very well. We've talked about, some of the outreach programs that you have and just your emphasis on providing great service to those that provided us with a great service, right?
Definitely. I feel like that's, for me, it is a white glove process. Every time I understand, a lot of times we got people coming from one part of the country to another. I started most of my business in Colorado, but I serve many different states now. And it's just so fun to get to see and be a part of people's journey as they continue through their time in service and when they also get out as well.
So you're in Colorado. Do you do business outside of Colorado, or is that primarily where you're at?
So I am licensed in Colorado, Texas, Florida, and Illinois. I've been doing a lot down in Florida and a lot up in Illinois. So yeah, it definitely is kind of fun because each of the different markets has their own different things that you got to know. But to me, it's all just making sure we all show up at the closing table happy at the end.
Yeah, well, that's definitely the goal, right? We want to get people to the closing table on time, a great experience from start to finish. And, that's something I know that you do, and you've been doing it for a long time. So how long have you been in the industry?
So I've been in the industry since 2016, actually. My family has an Amway background, and back in the day, one of our former Amway people that we had owned his own mortgage branch. And even while I was still in the military, I was already starting my licensing process. I knew that I wanted to do that. And then I took from about 17 to 21 that I was in doing mortgage stuff. And then I took a few years where I was doing a bunch of different things. And then I've been really enjoying getting back into the industry. And I think that it really is a really unique time where when I left before, it was everybody didn't really know where the market was. We were all excited about our 2% and 3% interest rates when we were finishing up a lot of things in 20 and 21. And now we're just in a different environment. And I want the loans to be as affordable for people as possible, but it is kind of fun because just today's market requires a little bit more sophistication to be able to communicate the value to a new family that's looking at getting into a home for the first time or doing an investment or doing a move up. And I love that challenge. I think that that's where I feel like now being at Premier Lending, we do all the fundamentals well. Your VA, your conventional, your FHA, your USDA. But I feel like there are a few extra things that we have that really, especially the one I'm excited about is this last weekend, I got done with an open house with an agent. And it is so incredible to see how many families are looking at move up homes. But what that means is that a lot of them are stuck with homes that they're either having to drastically reduce the price on, or they're just sitting on market for forever. And that's really where I feel like one of our advantages is having an in-house bridge loan product that allows us to not just do what everybody else does, but be there in that transition point that I know so many people get so nervous about in their home buying experience.
Yeah, no, you're right, because sometimes too when you're out there and you're looking for properties, you find the perfect one, but if you're contingent and you can't qualify with both mortgage payments, what do? Right? You don't want to miss out on the house that you really want, but at the same time, you don't have the capital to go out and pay cash, right? Or the ability to qualify. And I think that's where these bridge programs come in really handy, because effectively you can go in and put an offer non-contingent on a home, and you still own that second home, and you can even defer payments on that other property while that home is being marketed, and eventually you'll just refinance into permanent financing, and then your offer is really a cash offer. It's no longer a contingent offer, which the sellers like, right? They like to see that this is not a contingency.
Completely agree. I think that in addition, there's one other specific type that what the one unique thing too that I love about Premier is the fact that we also have other relationships that are even outside of that on the broker side of the house, such as bank statement programs. I always feel very, I feel very not frustrated is the word, but I don't like having the question from a self-employed borrower, what should I be claiming on taxes? I want to be able to say, hey, I have a great financial planner and a great CPA that can help you with that question. But ultimately, we could take that whole question away and let's just look at a bank statement loan.
Let's solve some problems.
And that literally is my favorite part about where we're at now is I have seen the 1003. I have seen the inside of a title company. There's lots of different options in the lending world. And I'm going to use the line that everybody knows, but I truly believe in being your lending partner for life.
Well, I know that's true, because we've talked about that. And you come from a background in the industry where you have other family members who've been here. You have a history of clients that you serve. And that's something that's very important to you. We talked about that right out of the starting gate when you joined the team. And, how do I nurture my past customers? How do I make sure, that I'm there for them when they need me? And how do I be there, not just for them, but for their generations as well? So, when you say that you mean that, I know you mean that, and at the end of the day, it's not just a pitch. It's, that's one of the values that you bring to the table, and I do want to mention, before we go down that rabbit hole, the bank statement programs or the DSCR programs. One of the advantages that you do have, Kobi, as you mentioned, is that we have those programs, but they're also in-house, right? So instead of having to broker that out and, go through the process of somebody else's underwriting team looking at the file, we get to underwrite those right here in-house. And I think that's an advantage as well, because our underwriters understand the programs, they understand the buyers. It's not crossing hands over to another organization. It's all being done right here under one roof. And that's the value that we have. And because of the fact that we have multiple versions of that program, there's multiple guideline variants. So if you don't fit into this box, it's okay. We've got 2 or 3 other boxes that we can transition people into. But you're correct. It takes that self-employed borrower and gives them a now solution and not a then solution. And if you do want to sort out your taxes, well, great. You can work on that for the next transaction, right? And you can always refinance out of that bank statement loan, but you can get out there and buy a house right now. And that's what's important. We talk about the DSCR. That's another investor program. And what a great program that is as well, right? It allows for you to use the cash flow of the rental property that you intend to purchase to offset the payment. And you don't have to get into the messy W-2s and bank statements, which allows for a client who is not able to document enough income to qualify for an investment property. Now they can. They're just offsetting it with what the future rent is going to be on that home.
And that's what I'm trying to come at it when I say this with humility. But this is not my first deal I'm about to go stare at when I have a family come and say hi to me. When I know what a nice deal looks like. I know what a really bad deal looks like. And I know how to take a transaction that even where I cannot tell you how important it is on those broker things that if you don't have that control from cradle to grave, you are literally just playing roulette, especially on a purchase. And I really hope that that is what you can see when you're looking at working with me here at Premier, is that you're getting someone that if the solution is a simple 20% down conventional, let's do it. And let's make that a simple process. But as things get more complicated, as things get more competitive in the world, having a company like it's just, I hate that all this sounds like so pitchy, but it's not. But it's like really just someone that embraces the competition, that embraces like, hey, let's be the person that can take a file, make it simple, slightly adjust it, and just make it a better experience for the borrower.
That's right.
And then I think that's the thing. If you are looking for somebody that is just going to rubber stamp everything, you know what? I can look at a file and say, give it off to, it's going to be great. But I'm so excited for taking on the challenge of being that partner as your captain of your wealth ship over the long. I am here for the simple, and I am here to tackle your real challenges. And that's what I feel like is what this modern mortgage captain needs to have, is the ability to keep it simple when necessary, but think on his feet in order to make sure that the clients are being taken about and we can say yes more than the times we say no.
Yeah. Well, it's super important. And, one of the things that I know you take very seriously is not just your relationship with the clients, but the relationship with your agent partners. You and I've talked about that a lot. And then going back to your relationship with the veteran borrowers as well. Like that's just something that you have an infinity of your heart for. You want to protect people and protect them well. And, again, Kobi, I can tell because of the times that we spend just in the short period of time that we've known each other behind closed doors, having those candid conversations about what it means to you to be able to serve your market and serve the people inside of that market and, build long lasting relationships, with people that mean something. And, I think you do it really well. You're out there literally every single day and I see you bouncing around the room, going to different events, being at open houses, being in front of the people, and that's what makes you such a valuable gem in this industry, is that you're not hiding behind a desk. You're out there, you're living it, you're doing it, you're breathing it, and you're there to serve the people the best possible way for them. And that's another thing that I love about your integrity.
I appreciate that. I feel like that, especially coming from Colorado Springs, and now I have a reach over 4 states. But especially in Colorado Springs, they say it's the biggest small town in the country. And especially with my mom having done business in this market, my family having one of the biggest nonprofits in schools here, we're embedded in the community. And we know that we have to, our name follows us where we go. And I feel like that is exactly why, just like when people swear their oath to defend this country, they make that commitment. And that is really the intensity that I bring. Like I was a Division I high jumper at the Air Force Academy. I did pretty well. I was a 4-time academic All-American. And for me, this is one thing that our founder of our company says all the time. It's all about a process. You have to have the right process to make everything happen. And I feel like that comes by with working with agents. I love thinking of creative business development solutions and also doing the tried and true methods to make sure that you are presented as effectively as possible to the people that you want to serve. And then, yes, for anyone that is looking to move across the country, we have 30 states that we're licensed in. And so many other countries, so many other companies want to do, you get an experience with the one loan officer, and then they have to like wink, wink and say, oh, I can hand it off to somebody else. The Farage group that I'm part of, internally, I have 30 states.
That's
that
right.
I can send the same white glove experience, that I'm in that same meeting. While yes, the loan officer at the bottom of your 1003 is a different name when you're signing all those documents at title, you're still getting to have that integrity of our founder's very passionate about F1. You're still getting that very, very streamlined process no matter who the driver is.
100%. Well, you talk about drivers and you talk about, legacy last names and, your commitment to your communities. You're an Air Force pilot and a jumper. I got to tell you, man, Kobi, Kobi Rex, I think you might be the mortgage action figure hero, right? Like we've got to get you an action figure. You see all these things going out there on the internet these days. And, I think that's who you are, man, because you're stepping up and you're saying, hey, there's got to be a better way. And I want to be able to serve people and serve them right. And I'm going to take a stance by coming to a company that believes that we should be able to serve those people a very specific way and be process driven, get them to the closing table on time, help reel them into the product that's going to fit their needs the absolute best. And even if they're not in a state that you're licensed in, we've got loan officers that are going to be able to be there to service them. And you can still be a point contact on that communication, because what the law says is, yes, they got to disclose the terms, but because of the fact that you're also a licensed loan originator, you can act as a secondary loan officer on that transaction, continue to communicate with your people throughout the process. So no matter where they are on their journey, Kobi Rex, action figure mortgage guy, can get you home, right?
Agreed.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. So, so going back to the history, so you do have a little bit of a household name in your market, right?
Yes. So my family has been in mortgage. My mom, Kathy, she started in mortgage back in 2017. She's been a Scotsman guide, loan officer, very, very highly sought after person in terms of being that expert to really and caring about her clients. And when she actually retired in December of this last year, I feel like that really is how I feel, is that there is that responsibility to continue to deliver with that same level of care and expertise that she was known for. So whether both names start with a K, so when you are seeing it on a contract, just there is a level of professionalism and expertise that you will see in a transaction and in a borrower experience when you are trusting your family's buying experience, when we get to work together.
It's that Rex seal of approval, right? Agents know who you guys are. Remember, you've been a part of that team since it was in infancy, right? This isn't something that's new for you. You've been a part of the team. You know what that process looks like. You were part of the mold of that process, right? It's in you. And so, any consumer that's out there and looking at doing a transaction, they know that the Rex name is behind this thing. And that means something. And I think that means something in community as well, because agents know the people they can trust in this industry. They do. And, at the end of the day, when you have your pre-approval letter and you're submitting your first offer, you want to make sure that you're working with an originator, that when that comes across the listing agent's desk, they go, oh, I know Kobi Rex. I know who he is. We can trust this offer. And at the end of the day, that's a good one. Let's put that to the top of the stack, right? And that's what you're looking for. I talked about this on a different show the other day, and this industry, not to take law into consideration, right? But you start thinking about, man, I want to go out and I've got a situation I need an attorney for, right? And I'm going to go in front of a judge, right? Do you want to go to the bottom basement attorney who nobody knows, who's brand new to the industry, and hope that you're in good hands there? Or do you want to go with the one that's got the tried and true name, that knows all the judges, that knows the other attorneys, right? And have that person as somebody that represents you. And we both know the latter, right? But a lot of the times that person costs too much money. Well, guess what? In this world, we don't have that problem. Kobi doesn't cost too much money, but he has the history. He knows the players. And when he puts a seal of approval on a transaction, agents know that it means something. And that also means that you're going to have a great transaction from start to finish.
And I appreciate that, Devin. I think that what I want most people to know is that when you are going through this process, you can either look at this as a adversarial relationship, that this is a transactional communication. And there are so many different ways that you can get to the closing table. But when we're about to do our next client event in August, which is going to be amazing, by the way, it's going to be a virtual movie night. I'm very excited about it because we have clients all over the country and we can stay in touch with them. There's going to be people that we've known in that room for 20 to 30 years that we are continuing to serve, whether we met them from somewhere else or we just finished a transaction last week or we're still even in the process. You're dealing with someone this isn't just a let's go get your oil changed. This is an investment in your financial future, and especially on the agent side. I truly believe that our systems that we have here at Premier Lending, I came back because I had a relationship with a coach, Coach Rick Koenig, who has been instrumental in my life, that I, even after 4 years, knew that if I called him back up, I was not going to be able to say no. I knew I was going to immediately have to hear what he was doing, which is amazing. And what I know is that if you're an agent in any of the 4 states, or it's probably going to be more in the future, that I serve, that you have a secret weapon on your team to help you build your business if you want to tap into that.
Amen. Amen. Well, Kobi, we need more people out there that are like you, that want to help people and want to represent the market and want to stand up for the veterans and give them a better product, right? And genuinely care and aren't transactional, right? But are there to get you through to the finish line and then follow up after you make it. What a novel concept, right? You're going to be there for their kids and their kids' kids. And that's really what this is all about. So, Kobi, what did we not cover today that we should have?
I think that what can't be stated enough is that you probably haven't heard about Premier Lending, but you need to get to know us. You need to get to know that experience. We need to have a conversation so we can make this process enjoyable and an investment for your family that is going to sustain over time. If you're an agent, I cannot wait to see you at a Top Golf session. I can't wait to see you at one of my trainings that I'm doing twice a month. You're, as Devin said, you're going to see me. You're going to see me, and we're going to have fun together, and I can't wait to see you along on the journey.
It's awesome. Great message from a great person, and doing it for all the best reasons. So when the folks out there want to find you, we know you're in 4 states. We know you're out of Colorado, specifically Colorado Springs. That doesn't mean you're limited there. Licenses in 34 states for the company that you're in, which gives you the ability and flexibility to help people in multiple areas. But when they want to find you, how do they find Kobi Rex?
So as everyone does nowadays, you got to be everywhere. But the best way is going to be give me a call. 719-287-3228. If you're a borrower that wants to start the journey and you and your family are ready to make a great decision, always go to my Flowify link, kobirex2.flowify.com, and we can get the journey started.
I love that. And you know what I love that you let in with is call me, right? Such a lost art. What does that mean, guys? That means that if you want to talk to Kobi and get the insight and be able to have that great communication and know exactly where you're qualified, where you can qualify, what you can get, you're talking to Kobi. It's not going to be a team. It's not going to be AI. You're going to talk to Kobi directly. That's the number he gave you. It just ran across the bottom of the screen. And he also dropped that application link. So if you're ready to get started right now, right, go look at the description, click on the link, get connected with Kobi. You're going to be glad that you did. And you've got a history of excellence standing behind you. I'm telling you, Kobi, we're going to have to make that action figure. Kobi Rex, the mortgage guy, right? He's here to get you home. So thanks so much for joining us today, brother.
Thank you so much, Devin. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, if you stuck in this far, you probably already know, but we're the Loan Officer Success Partner, and we're always here to bring on top tier guests, people that are doing things that are extra special in this industry. And hey, if you love the content, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, forward to 3 friends, then go find Kobi on social and do the same thing with him. Make sure you subscribe to Kobi. He's putting out some great content every single day. You need to hear what this guy has to say. So until the next time.